I'll begin with a story. How many people are tired of hearing stories today? All right, so I will begin with a story, and that is, I was prepared to do this message using my own system. I came last night, and the AV people told me, yeah, it's not going to work. So we're going to use the Northwest Brampton system. So pray for me, because I'm not used to this. So I'll try to work it as well as I can, so your patience is appreciated. All right, that's out of the way. How many people are bored right now? Raise your hand. Anybody bored? Just one little one at the back? All right. Okay. Little guy, come here. Come. You said you're bored, right? Oh, and you have to pardon my accent. Sorry. I'll try to keep it as Canadian as I can. Hi. What's your name?
Timothy Mitchell.
Hello, Timothy Mitchell. Do you know how to do a jumping jack?
Yeah.
Can you do 3 for me right now? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Are you bored?
Huh?
Are you still bored?
I was, yeah.
Thank you, Timothy. Thank you. Okay, so what happened just now, you can go sit down. Thank you so much. What happened just now with little Timothy was that he was honest, so he remembered the children's story today about emotions, and he felt the emotion of boredom, but then I came and I tried to interrupt that emotion of boredom, and then he got a little confused because then his blood was flowing again, and then he was like, oh yeah, am I don't know. Okay, so can everybody please just stand up for me, please? Those who can stand. I want everybody to stretch as wide and as high as you can. See if you can touch the ceiling. And now I want everybody to take a deep breath in. Hold it and breathe out. Breathe in again, arms up, and breathe out. One more time, breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, so now we're ready. Please be seated. Today is going to be a presentation. I am not a preacher, so I'm going to say that right now. I'm not a preacher, but I thank you, Pastor Parker, for allowing me to take the pulpit, and thank you, Sister Tony, for inviting me to come here. So today is going to be, okay, we got it. All right. It's touchscreen, right, John? Okay, cool. There we go. Okay, so it's going to be participatory, all right? So I'm going to need everybody to shout out the answer when I ask you a question. Is that good? Yes. Okay, is that good? Yes. All right. Okay, so what is this on the screen? Grapes. Okay, what color grapes do you see? Green and purple, perfect. What is this? Not a cherry. What is that? Grapes. Wasn't that the same thing as we just saw? But what's the difference here that you can see? Pardon me? You can see the what? The seed. Yes, very important. What is this? Can anybody read the label on this package of grapes? Okay. Now, did you notice that it says green seedless grapes? But then it also labels it and says that it's organic. How is that possible to have seedless, organic grapes? So we're going to talk about genetically modified, but organically cultivated. Are you ready? All right. What's this? It's a watermelon. And what's going on with the seeds? It's seedless. What is this? All right. All of the men who are married, please raise your hand. All of the men, married men. Let me see. Okay. All right. I need you to take note of this fruit. This fruit is going to be your best friend until time immemorial. Watermelon, but it must have what? Seeds. Yes, black seeds. Come to this afternoon's session and I'll tell you more about that. All right. How many people have recognized this product? How many people have eaten this? Okay, I have in the past. I will not eat it again. How many people have heard of the blue zones? What is a blue zone? Okay. So it's places in the world where people live to be 100 years old. And that is on average, and that is because of the dietary and the lifestyle that they live. So the dietary habits that they have and the lifestyle that they live. This product is made in Loma Linda. How many people have heard of Loma Linda? So what is Loma Linda? Okay, so Loma Linda is a blue zone. It's also the name of a city in California. And this city in California is primarily occupied by Seventh-day Adventists. Now, I can tell you that this product is not one of the products that the Blue Zone people eat. And if you look at the list of ingredients, you don't even need to be able to read it. Just look at the amount of components that are in this product. Okay, can you see with my big head? Let me move this way. Let me move that way. All right. So the thing that I want you to take note of is that this has, besides all of the things that it has in it, besides wheat gluten, it also has red number 3. Anybody heard of red number 3? Red number 3 is so bad for your body and your brain that it has been banned in the United States. But for people to be eating this, and especially for it to be coming from a blue zone set of Seventh-day Adventists, that we need to dig deeper and look at what are we putting into our bodies. This is something that you should never put in your body. Anybody heard of Beyond Meat? Okay, you think this is a better option? It is not. It is not a better option. You know why? Because it has pea protein, but it also has canola oil, which is a really bad seed oil that promotes inflammation. And then it has a whole lot of other ingredients in it, including potassium and sunflower lecithin. If you see that, men, run. Do not eat this unless you want to transition. But we're not going to get into that. So who ate breakfast today? Anybody? Okay, not yet? Okay, so I better speed up. But what if I told you that food is not food? Okay? So even your fruits, the vegetables, protein, all of that carbohydrates, it's not food. These are not food to your body. We serve an amazing God. And God in the Garden of Eden created all kinds of fruits for Adam and Eve. And in our day, present day, we have multicolored fruits and vegetables that are chemically certified to help our bodies move, breathe, heal, think, and have longevity. Because food is not food, it's chemicals. So let's go back to the beginning. You all know the story that God created the heavens and the earth, right? And when he did that, what was the last thing that he created? Yes, he created man. Now, I really want you to focus on what God did. He created the environment. So we know about the environment. He created man on the last day. And he said in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, this is a significant text when he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air. And then verse 7, when it says that the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a what? Living soul. Now, Adam had a job, right? What was his job? Yes, he used to tend to the garden and he named all of the animals. But he did not have a helper. He did not have a help meet for him. So what did God do? Yep. That's right. So God said it wasn't good for man to be alone. And when he created Eve, I'm going to just speed through this. When he created Eve, he took the rib from Adam's side. And I really want us to focus in on what is happening with genetically modified food and how something that's genetically modified can be organically cultivated. Now, remember the order in what God did. He created the environment, he created the vocation, and he created Adam and then Eve. Are you with me? Okay. So God gave them a specific set of instructions for how they should fuel their bodies. He said, every herb-bearing seed, every tree, and the what? The fruit of a tree yielding seed. I really want you to focus on the word seed because there's significance to what happened in the Garden of Eden and to what is happening today because of seeds or the lack thereof. All right. Are you with me? Okay. So fruits versus vegetables. So many people don't know what a fruit is, and now it's getting more confusing because there are things that are seedless, right? So fruits are generally supposed to be seeded, thank you. And they develop from the flower of a plant, they have seeds. But vegetables, on the other hand, they come from roots. They have stems and leaves, but tomatoes, avocados, and cucumbers are also fruits. Remember that. So this is a basket of fruits and vegetables. And God said, this, you can eat everything except for what? The tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? This is what our food is supposed to look like. It appeals to our eyes. It appeals to our sense of smell. It appeals to our ears from the crunchiness of it. It appeals to all of our senses because it feeds all of our senses. So we know that God had a plan for health and long life. And this is just a quick rundown of the 5 things, right? So a suitable environment. He gave Adam work to do. He instructed man what to eat. He gave Adam a woman, a helper. And then he gave Adam a family, Cain and Abel. But I'm jumping around in the order. So for the theologians, don't come at me. Okay, so what is so important about a seed? In Galatians 3:16-29, this was a promise that God made to Abraham. Remember that story? So to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not unto seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ. So, and if we jump down to verse 29, if ye be Christ, then ye are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. That is a powerful, powerful thing. This is what our brain sees when it has food. This is the optimal, the best way for our brains to function with food. Do you see what that looks like? Okay, so keep that in mind. So food is not food, it's chemicals for your brain and your body. So on my left, your right, this is an excellent view of food that helps your brain, your body, and your spirit. The view of food on the left is all of the healthy fats that you need to eat to lose weight, lower your blood pressure, reduce type 2 diabetes, reduce cholesterol. We are here to dispel the myths and the lies that the deceiver has told us through all of the white coats that sit and tell us that they are the experts when they're making us sicker and sicker. Oh, that was, let me go back. Your left is how the brain needs food, right? How the brain sees food and what is optimal for the brain. And your left, right? And so your right is what you need to do to reduce chronic preventable illnesses. Clear? Yep. So we've got fish, we have avocado, we have nuts and seeds, and these must be raw. They cannot be flavored, they cannot be dry roasted, they cannot be salted. They have to be raw. You with me? Okay. And the reason why, does anybody know why nuts and seeds have to be raw? Anyone? Why do nuts and seeds have to be raw when you eat them? Okay. So they have to be raw because you want the oil that is in the seed that will be dried out when they're dry roasted and seasoned. Make sense? Okay, so that's why we want to stay away from flavored nuts and seeds. Come on, Pastor. Was Pastor paying attention? I mean, I think so. Don't make me speak bad patois. Come on. So just the nuts have to be raw. Unless you like sushi. Some people like sushi, so they eat raw fish. Don't say ooh until you try it. It's not bad. Okay, so then the temptation happened. We're going to skip through that quickly. But the thing I want you to remember is Genesis 3, verse 15, where God says, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy what? And her what? Yes, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel, so that Satan's head will be bruised, and the evil one will bruise the heel of Jesus. And then unfortunately, ladies, I'm sorry for all of the mothers and mothers-to-be, greatly multiply your sorrow and conception. And in sorrow you shall bring forth children. But this is an interesting line that most people skip over, that thy desire will be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So when I was in university, I was on the track team in university. Why do the men always say that? So, yes, so the desire will be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So when I was in track, okay, I ran 400 and 800 meters, right? Because I'm a tall person, so I'm not fast enough for like 100. Nah, I need a while to get moving, you know? Our little praise team leader, you run track too, right? Yeah. I think you would be. But I'm not like Usain, you know? He uses height for his advantage. The thing that made me laugh was how many of the girls would show up to watch the guys run. Because you know what they said, when you go to university, you're there to get your MRS, right? Anybody ever heard that? So a lot of the women were there, young women were there to get their MRS. So they wanted the fastest runner, they wanted the most handsome man, the smartest man, all of that. And a lot of them never ran track in their lives. But all of a sudden, because they see, oh, Jeremy, he's a good runner. So all of a sudden, they said, oh, I'm into track, and I'm going to run, and all of this stuff, so that Jeremy would notice them, date them. And then as soon as they got engaged and married, guess what happened? She doesn't even bother to go for a walk, let alone track. So when I understood this concept, it was a pastor who explained it to me that a woman's desire will be to thy husband. That is why women blend into what men do, because we are conforming to the leader. All right, I'm not going to get too controversial, so I'll move on with that. So, and then the ground got cursed, and in sorrow ye shall eat of it. Now, what is this? This is not just an angel. This is a specific angel that God put. Yes, he put an angel with a flaming sword at the entrance to Eden because he did not want Adam and Eve to get back in there after the fall. So when they're thrown out, the thing that really made this stand out is Genesis 3, verse 22, where the Lord God said, behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. So they'd be living forever as sinners. What a word, I could not even imagine. So God had to keep them out. So they were evicted. And then after that, this is where humans were genetically modified, so they wouldn't live forever as sinful beings. So we then saw lifespans shorten. And it happened quite quickly, especially after the flood. So let's go back to seeds. And we're going to come back to seeds again. They are the key to a plant. But there are certain people who are ruled by evil, who want to destroy and corrupt this world by taking plants and taking the seeds that bear those plants. And those, you may have heard of the names of Monsanto. Anybody heard of Monsanto? Yes, they are a pharmaceutical company that has claimed ownership on all of the seeds in the world. So if you go to Norway, I believe it's Norway, where they have an underground bunker where you have to drive miles below the surface of the earth, and that is where they house all of the seeds from across the world. And once they've done that, then they make sure that the only seeds that are available to farmers, to regular people, are the seeds that have been genetically modified. So, and Bill Gates knows the importance of it too. He's amassed almost 270,000 acres of farmland in the United States. Now, that was since 2021, and he didn't stop there. There is a war on getting the seeds, because the seeds is where the strength is. Are you following me? All right, so we have all of these issues that are caused by genetically modifying food, but God had to genetically modify us so we would not live forever. Do you see the similarity? Okay, but there's a very interesting thing. Remember when I said that food is not food? Does anybody know what part of the brain this is? Yes, this is the frontal lobe. Everything happens here. And that's exactly what the enemy wants. So how does he do that? He knows that this is where your thinking, your emotions, your personality, your judgment, your self-control, muscle control, memory, and empathy. Empathy is something that's missing in our world today. And it's missing because people don't even know what empathy is anymore, because they've become so deadened because they're eating dead, low vibrational food. Now, these are the chemicals that the body pulls, the brain pulls from your food. Sugar. Sugar is such an evil thing, because how many people are here from the Caribbean or have roots from the Caribbean? All right, so you're familiar with sugar cane. That is sugar in its purest form, and there's nothing wrong with eating sugar cane. Do you notice what God did with sugar cane? What happens when you chew on sugar cane? You get the juice, but what do you not get? The trash, the fiber. When God creates something that's sweet, he tempers it and balances it with fiber, water, and sweetness. And that is the reason why an apple is better than apple juice. Right? A watermelon is better than watermelon juice. Sugar cane is better than sugar. Now, for those who still use sugar, I'm not going to say, oh, never use sugar, but I need you to understand that when you eat regular white sugar, it lowers your immune function, right, for about 4 to 6 hours after you eat it. So that's why when people who are sick or women who have menstrual periods get extra bad cramps if you binge on chocolate and if you binge on sweets, because the body is now inflamed because of the sugar. Does that make sense? But not only that, it impairs your memory for everybody. And it contributes to high stress, which leads to high blood pressure. It can aggravate type 2 diabetes. It can give you, or it can contribute to high cholesterol and overweight and obesity. And of course, it's addictive. So it's almost as addictive, it's the same addictive power as cocaine, but it's not considered an illicit drug, right? It's everywhere. So let's move on. So appetite. There's a thing with appetite when it comes to our health, that we need to remember what appetite is versus hunger. So I put up on here on the screen that appetite is emotional, it's comfort, and it's addictive behaviors. What we really need is hunger. And that's the body's signal that it needs energy. But Satan knows that he can control our appetite. If he can control it, then he knows that he can control us and our relationship with God. And that is something similar that we saw with Esau, Jacob and Esau. What did Esau give up his birthright for? Yes, he gave up his birthright for a bowl of lentil stew. Was that hunger or was that appetite? Yeah, he wasn't going to die. He was so extra by saying, oh, give me some food or I'm going to die. No, you're not. You're not going to die, but you did lose your birthright. Again, brain food. Now, what's this thing with Eve? Eve, come on, Eve. We have so many issues because of Eve. We can't overlook it, I'm sorry. But Eve was tempted by the sight, right? And the sound of a talking serpent. I don't know what kind of animals existed in Eden, but a talking serpent is a little bit extra. And for her to be distracted enough to have a whole conversation with it, where was Adam? Why was she not with Adam? So, but Satan tried the same 1-2-1-2 punch, right? He tried it with Jesus. But he could only try to tempt Jesus after Jesus was what? 40 days and 40 nights with no food and no water? Come on. That's not even a fair fight. How many men watch boxing? Any boxing fans? Any MMA fans? No? Okay. Well, you know it's not a fair fight. There was a fight between, anybody heard of the Rumble in the Jungle? Okay. And that was with Muhammad Ali and who? George Foreman, thank you. And George Foreman said in that big hyped fight that they had where Ali knocked him out and he was staggering, he said, Ali could have finished me off, and he chose not to. And that made him the best fighter in the world, the best boxer in the world. You can only get after people when they're vulnerable, and Satan knows that. Because if that had been Satan, trust and believe, Foreman would have gotten an extra box. The seeds, let's go back to the importance of the seeds. And food. In the Bible, God talks about different things and the importance of food. Manna. Can you imagine getting so sick and tired of something that's called angel's food that you say, just give us the fowl and the kingdom from Egypt? Really? Wow. Not even angel's food could please humans. And then, exactly. And then Samson. Samson's mother was told not to drink any strong drinks, not to cut his hair, none of that. But unfortunately, Samson succumbed to, yeah. But we won't go into that because that was, again, a relationship, man-woman thing. So Proverbs 23:20 and 21 warns against overindulgence, stating that be not among the drunkards or among the gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and slumber will clothe them with rags. There's something about how the Bible just describes stuff. When I hear all of these self-help gurus talking, I'm like, are they literally taking the Bible and just restating it and slapping on their branding on it and charging thousands and millions for it? We better get back into the book, okay? So food, we see all kinds of emphasis on foods and the seeds, even the fruits of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These right here make up the 8 laws of health, by the way. Do you see the parallel? Okay. I don't have time to get into that. So choosing the right foods, because our bodies are the temple of God, right? So why not give God the best that we can construct by what we put into it? I'll give you a trick for all of the people. How many people have ever been on a diet? Yeah. How many people had that diet work? How many people had that diet work forever? Okay. I see one hand. I'm coming to you, sir. I see you. And the reason for that is that diets don't work. What works are lifestyle. The lifestyle is what will have lasting effects on your body. But we'll talk about that. And one of the tips to a lifestyle about food is remembering that food is fuel. The same way that if you're driving a luxury car, you're not going to be putting in cheap gasoline in it, right? You're going to be putting in premium. We need to start thinking about our bodies as that. So where am I going with all of this? The seeds are important because they indicate organic origin. But seedless grapes, even though they're genetically modified, but they are organically cultivated because they're grown without pesticides. Okay? Come, stay with me, all right? So they're grown in a healthy environment. So, but Satan still tempts us when we're weak, so we talked about that. The main thing is to eat real food. Eat food that looks like what it's supposed to be. If it's a fish, eat the fish. Don't eat fish fingers. If it is meat, eat real grass-fed, grass-finished meat. Don't eat that veggie link stuff that we saw from Loma Linda. That is not anything that we're supposed to consume. Eat fresh fruits and vegetables, but always read the food labels. If you have more than 5 ingredients in something, that's too many. That's a good indication that it is not for human consumption. This is your brain. There was back in the day, this is revealing my age, there was a commercial that said, your brain on drugs. And then they just cracked an egg into a hot pan, and it just bubbled up, and it's like, that's what's going to happen to you. Well, this is your brain on good food, and this is your brain on poor food. Notice how I didn't say bad food. It's poor because it's poor quality food. And poor quality food is going to give you poor quality energy. It's going to give you poor quality brain function. It's going to give you poor quality blood flow. And the main thing to remember is that blood flow is absolutely necessary for every single thing that you do in your life. From thinking, from being a good spouse, from moving, from having your blood pressure normalized by helping your type 2 diabetes or preventing it, cholesterol, weight, all of that is about blood flow. So, seeds equals life. So we know that men carry the seeds that fertilize a woman's eggs. We know all of this from biology, right? So men's sperm or their DNA determines the sex of the unborn child and the lineage of family. What did I just say? The lineage of a family. That's all from the man and the seeds. What did Satan go after when God threw out Adam and Eve? Yes. And God talked about the seed and the seed. So, Satan's war on humanity is to eliminate the male seed, which controls order and, in a Christian home, God's standards. Without that leadership, it leads to chaos, death, and destruction. So, and then there's many, many parables about seeds. But how do you acquire long life? There's 5 things. You allow the seed of Christ to enter your heart, grow your faith, eat real foods, exercising your faith and your body daily, sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. How many people sleep 7 to 8 hours a night? Ooh, wow. We need to do some work. How many people do more than 8 hours? A couple, oh, children, okay. How many people do less than 7? Yeah, less than 5? Okay, all right. We need to work on that. And being grateful each day. So, where am I going with this? Take a look at the review. This right here is an example of spiritual warfare. From the Garden of Eden, the devil knew that food would be the Achilles heel of many of us. Food is the weakness that many of us suffer from. It's the one area in our lives. We can be the most successful person in our careers, in our families, in our communities, but if we don't have that control, self-control over food, we are in a battle. And it's not just the battle of the bulge. It's a battle for our eternal lives. Spiritual warfare. And you know who's at the center of spiritual warfare when it comes to family and our communities? It's the men. It is the men. The men's seeds determines the sex of the child. The man's seed is also an indicator of having an earthly priest in the home. The man's seed is also going to be looking to protect, profess, and provide for his family, for his community. The final battle is not just about food, it's about men. We've seen it in our society right now. The whole transgender agenda, the whole confusion of the roles of men and women. Women saying we can do anything that men can do. Oh, really? Really? You want to be in war-torn Ukraine right now and see what all of those feminist women had to say about going to war when they're running for their lives because there's no men there to protect them? We have to get real. Now, I'm not saying that we should go back 300 years. Oh, that's getting too close to slavery. But I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that we need to get back to the original factory settings of who we are as human beings. And it starts with our food and recognizing the importance and the significance of what's going on from genetically modified foods to getting rid of men. It's gotten so bad that the genetic modification of seeds is so precise that it can literally get rid of males from being born. They've studied it on animals, on rats, on salamanders, to see that they can change the sex from male to female in utero from food. And if you don't think that that's affecting anything in our society, you need to check that. I love God. And I love being a woman, okay? But I also love and respect that I cannot be the fullest that I am without men. I come from a large family. Sister Ezri knows me. I come from a large family of 4 brothers and a sister. So, listen, when we came to Canada, it was like, whoa, there's so many of you. And in England, it was like, whoa, so many of you. But the thing that my father always told my brothers is that you take care of your sisters. God's design for men as the seed carriers of order is to protect the home, provide for the family, and profess God's word, because Adam was placed in Eden to guard and cultivate it. The seed of Abraham equals the legacy of Christ, right? So through the seed, the promises flow to all of the nations. Satan's agenda, again, is to eliminate the seed, collapse the structure. Remove fathers from the home creates what? Chaos. We have such a problem, especially amongst the Black community, and now it's flowing into Canada just the same way as it is in the United States, with single motherhood among Black women. In the United States, they're saying that it's 80% of all babies that are born, Black babies that are born to single mothers. This is a disgrace and a complete dishonor to God. Now, I'm not saying that in a place of judgment. I'm saying that we have to look at the bigger picture. This is not about in those days of like beating people because they committed a sin. We're not talking about that. We're talking about look at the bird's eye view of what's happening. And let's stop getting distracted by the things that are going on to make us think that it's men against women. And it's about allowing LGBTQ or being more open to allowing people of different sexual orientations. It's not just about that. It's the bigger picture of how Satan wants to destroy families. And the best way to do that is to destroy men. It's an attack on mental health. And when you attack your mental health, just like the brother said today, the elder said today about he's in finances, and keep your finances in order because that affects your mental health. When your mental health is gone, your spiritual covering gets weak because it's hard to focus on that when you're stressed. So disorder, disease, and destruction. Those are the things. So Bill Gates, Monsanto, they know what they're doing when they try to control the seeds. Do you understand where I'm going? Everybody clear what I'm saying? Control the seed, and you control what? The people. Control the seed, you can control the people. They've created seeds that are called, they have a terminator gene in them. That means they only produce fruit or whatever the grain is once. And then the seed dies. And they've made it so that you have to, for farmers in the United States, they have to go to a facility to get seeds every year to plant. Before, they used to be able to just use what they had and the seeds from what they had to plant the next season's harvest. No longer, because seeds are being controlled. So it's spiritual warfare. It absolutely is. Now, mental health among black men in the United States is 1 in 4 black men report symptoms of depression. Fewer than 30% receive treatment. And suicide, we're not going to say unaliving. If you want to bleep it out on YouTube, that's fine. But suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death for black men between the ages of 15 and 24. And then that number spikes again for older men. Interesting. In Canada, it's no better. Black men are 3 times more likely to experience psychosis. They have high rates of untreated post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety. And it's a social stigma and lack of access. So there's silent suffering of our men. What is this? It's an attack on men. The chronic illness in black men, so high blood pressure. 57% of black men in the United States have high blood pressure. Type 2 diabetes, they're 60% higher rate of having that than their white counterparts. They're 2 times more likely to have stroke. And they have heart disease and obesity that's on the rise. We need to recognize what is happening. Black men, we expect them to be strong, but they're rarely heard. They're overburdened emotionally, financially, and spiritually. And there's no safe places to be vulnerable, and that leads to internal collapse. And trust me when I tell you that when men collapse, the entire community collapses. So processed food raises your stress, lowers your empathy, gets rid of your self-control. A poor diet reduces the blood flow to your brain, so you're not even thinking clearly. So you're more apt to take on negativity, right? So spiritual and bondage. But where does it begin? It begins with these little ones. I like little Liam. Where's Liam? Is he gone? Little Liam who prayed. We have to nurture our young children, and especially nurture our young black boys and young black men, because they are the next generation that is expected to carry the load of caring for a society, a community, and a home. So we're restoring the male seed. This is a call to order, to reclaim the role of godly manhood. It's not toxic masculinity like the devil and his agents want us to believe. We have to honor men as carriers of legacy and authority and teach boys their identity in Christ from when they're young. So let's rebuild, reclaim, and restore. We're going to rebuild the seed, reclaim the men, and restore the kingdom. And as I close, we're going to pray for men and protect your sons and honor the seed. This is not just physical. It is spiritual warfare, and it starts with genetically modified, but organically cultivated. If we're organically cultivated, that is God's mercy to bring us to a place where we can improve our characters for his kingdom. Spiritual warfare. So to the men, so what can you do? You can ask for help. You can scan the QR code if you want more information about what you can do. But now to the men, this is what I say to you. We're going to call the men to do, is it an anointing? Or we do a tribute to the men. And this is what I have to say to the men. To the men in our church community, we honor you as the appointed guardians of God's divine order. You are the protectors, the providers, and the professors of truth within our homes and communities. Fathers, husbands, brothers, grandfathers, and sons. You carry the mantle of leadership with dignity and strength. You are the standard bearers, the earthly priests, and the visionary leaders, called to walk in integrity and power. We see your sacrifice. We feel your spiritual covering. We are blessed by your presence and your prayers. Your love for God and your commitment to those you protect do not go unnoticed. So as wives, daughters, sisters, friends, and wives in waiting, we stand with you. We pledge to honor, support, and respect your God-given role. We uplift you in prayer, we walk beside you in faith, and we commit to building homes, churches, and communities where your leadership is welcomed, valued, and celebrated. May God strengthen you, restore you, and multiply your peace. Men, you are needed, you are respected, and you are deeply loved. God bless you.